Today marks 1451st day to lessons I learned and continue to learn with you. My hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve a goal to really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about letter J. Seven words that starts with letter J. It's an interesting thing because when I think about all other letters that I covered, are the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all of them I found it very simple to really choose those 7 words. But when I was looking into J, I found that there's not as many personal growth words that really are so meaningful to really become the best version of ourselves. But when I look into those words, I think it's important to reflect on them, really attract. But again, this is what's very interesting because I spent a little bit much, probably a little bit longer than expected on finding those 7 words that really elevates our game and allows us to become the best version of ourselves. So let's get started. Number one is joy. And this is again the foundation of life. I think that's what is about joy, that we're able to choose joy. What it means is that when we're going through life, when we're going through difficulties, when we're going through any part of our lives that we potentially could see as suffering, as a pain, but I think that we're able to choose to really see joy in everything. And I think that's when we really see joy in everything, when we really gamify even mundane things, we're able to really strengthen our mental health, emotional health, because we start to really enjoy the things we do, even though that it could be terrible. But let's say that you are going through a massive injury, and of course you don't like being injured, but at the same time you're able to gamify your recovery and see the progress. And I think that seeing the progress, I think brings a lot of joy. And that's why it's very important to create those small gamified, even daily things that you can win on a daily basis. It really brings joy, and I think that every single person is supposed to look into what could they do today to bring more joy. Because what joy does is increase our energy and life source. And again, when you have more energy, able to pursue anything in life. And that's why it's so important to become the best version of you. The more joy you have, the better attitude you have. The better attitude you have, the more people you attract into your life. And at that moment, you're able to take better actions, have better belief, and all the things lead to better results. And that's why it's very important. Number two is journey. And this is the perspective of growth. And then again, my channel is the journey to a better tomorrow. And again, this journey is such an important word because it shows that there's no destination. It's always about journey. And I think that is a beautiful thing when you're able to look into to growth as infinite. There's not will be like, oh, I'm done. I'm full complete. I'm perfect, and that's it. And I think that journey, that's exactly what the message sends. That there will be a journey, and that means that you are able to that builds more resilience, that allows to be more perseverant. And there's so many things that we could attract because of that. And then we focus more on progress and perfection because when you think that there is some kind of destination, you can potentially seek perfection. When you know that there is a journey, you'll focus on the progress itself. And be able to because of that, be able to be more mindful, be able to be more present. And of course, mindfulness and presence, what it brings peace, brings more even joy, and be able to grow better because of that. Number three, judgment. And this is clarity in decision making. I think that we need to really have that ability to understand how do I judge my decisions. So judgment is very interesting because judgment is something that you can be a positive thing when you judge about your actions, you judge about about yourself, the things that you need to really change, improve, get better. When you look into your judgment, okay, is this action is aligned with my values, my beliefs, my aspirations, my visions, or not? So based on that judgment, you're able to say, yes, I'm in alignment, or no, I'm not in alignment. Now, when I look into the worst parts of judgment, when people start to judge other people because they don't do what we expect them to do. That's of course, I think that not. I think that we need to understand that we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to judge anyone else. The only thing that we're able to judge is our behavior, because we're not able to judge ourselves again. We're not able to judge anybody. We're able to judge behaviors, and that is a huge difference. I think that people make mistakes so often, including myself, that we judge a person, not the behavior. And that's why there is that judgment is so important because when we start judging a person, we're able to really destroy connections, relationships, and everything in between. Number four is justice. Justice. I think it's very, very important to really have that integrity and fairness. Now, I understand that in life, nothing will be fair. And really expecting that everything perfectly will be fair, that is a delusional. I know that. But I think that we're able to seek to be more fair, to seek to have more integrity, and really have justice in our life regarding all the things that we do. Because I think that if we believe that, okay, life is not fair, so because life is not fair, I will not be fair as well. I will not have justice in life as well because life is unfair. That's a that's a different story. I think that even though that life is unfair, it will never be fair. But being for us being to attract that justice, to attract that integrity, to attract that fairness as much as I can, I think this still is extremely important because when we have that integrity, we're able to have business partners, we're able to have great relations, we're able to have trust with ourselves and others, and that's why justice is such an important thing because it brings honesty, moral culture. There's so many great things when you have that justice in your life. Number five, and this is an action, and this is journaling. And this is again part of your self reflections, self awareness. Because if you do not know who you are, where you're at, and where you want to go, it's very hard to really improve. And that's why journaling is extremely important because it gives you clarity. Clarity on your strengths, on your weaknesses, on the things that you need to improve on, the things that's working, the things that's not working, the things that you need to help with. You can look into the who potentially could be helping you to achieve that. There's so many things that we can really journal about our health, about our relationships, about finances. And I think that every single person needs to journal. And now, of course, in the most important part, we need to journal on the paper with a pen. Sometimes we can really even journal in our minds priorities. That's the worst case scenario when you do not have ability to really journal on paper. But I think the journaling is such a great thing because it really allows you to see the progress in the way how you communicate in any kind of business. When you look at your budget and you look into your budget in relations, your budget in time, your budget in finances, and when you journal, you're able to see that the journey that you make when you see the progress and when you see the progress because of the journaling what it leads to it leads better attitude because you see how much you went because sometimes when you look into compare ourselves where we are where our vision it seems like it's devastating how big the gap is but when you look into where you've been and where you're at and you see there's such a massive gap already is made you start to realize wow i made that I made that shift from this kind of person, from this situation to this situation. I'm so much better off than I used to be. So that means if I made such a huge jump, that means I could make one more, two, three more jumps and get finally into my destination. Number six, and this is a very interesting word. This is again, I was spending quite some time to find it as number six and number seven. And number six is jeopardy. And jeopardy is courage to take risk. And what is a jeopardy? Is really putting yourself at risk not like not you when I say risk is calculated risk. So that means even calculated risk could be going to a public speaking gig and speaking in front of 500 people. That's a risk. Because that could risk of embarrassment, or risk of rejection, or risk of making mistakes. So being able to put ourselves out there is putting yourself in potential jeopardy. Even speaking with a stranger is putting yourself in jeopardy because sometimes it's very scary to start a conversation, initiate a conversation with a stranger who potentially could look that they are not nice at all. I remember when I used to do that in the past, I used to start initiate conversation with strangers. Sometimes people used to look very, very mean and rude people, but I still I so that it's very important not to judge people because I never know. But even my grandpa was, he had like a very angry face. But when you start a conversation, he used to smile with such a beautiful smile. And I knew that. And I think that that's exactly what used to happen with a lot of people when I used to initiate, even though that used to seem angry when you initiate conversation, they are so happy to have a conversation with other human being. But again, you need to put yourself in jeopardy to do that because some people will ignore you or they will not want to speak with you or they will have some trust issues and they will think that you want something from them. There's so many reasons, but I think that in everything in life, when you put yourself in jeopardy in business in any environments, that creates opportunities for growth and opportunities for you to achieve something meaningful in life. And last one, I'm spending some of my time to find any kind of word that really means something, and I think that that's a pretty beautiful word, but I never used it before, but I think that's a beautiful word, is jubilation. And that's celebration and gratitude. Really being able to look into your um in your improvements, in your progress, and the things, and they're like, what kind of jubilation could I really have in my life about my progress, about the things in life, and about I think that is able to look into really, and even as a gratefulness, jubilation, like really celebrate. I think that's a beautiful thing. I was struggling with that to be honest for a long, long, long time. I was struggling to celebrate small wins. I always said that I want big win. I want to really see what I need to improve. I need to really work on my weaknesses. I need to get better. And I always ignored the things that I already did. And jubilation is such an important thing because we need to acknowledge and celebrate our wins because that shows that we are improving, getting better. Otherwise, if we do not do that, what it leads to, it potentially leads to feeling that we're not growing, that we're not getting any better. And when we feel that way, that leads potentially into quitting because I am not getting better anyway. So like, why I'm doing what I'm doing? So jubilation allows you to have that energy to keep pursuing and build that momentum. And that's why I think that's a very important word when I think about becoming the best version of ourselves. So when you look into those seven words, in short, is joy energizes you, journey keeps you patient and mindful, judgment guides you wisely, justice grounds you in integrity, journaling sharpens your self-awareness, jeopardy pushes you beyond your limits, jubilations anchors you in gratitude and fulfillment. So I hope you should reflect on those seven words and maybe even you find some other words in from that start from J. And maybe even you write comment because I'm really looking forward to find some other words that could be very, very useful in attracting those words into our lives to really become the best version of ourselves. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.